All right, guys, so I've been sitting on these batteries for a long time. They're the SPIM08HP cells from was alarm hookup, but it's now battery hookup. I got these in trade for doing some work. Long story short, they came into the possession of somebody who needed some work done, and we did some trade work, and he paid me with these instead. But either way, I haven't had time or setup to do anything with them, so I am going to go ahead and start. At this point, I've just started by charging them all up. I'm going to get them all charged up full, and once I've gone through and charged them all, I'm going to start marking them and capacity testing them, see about where we're at. I know that so much of it depends on temperature, so I'm going to try and have somewhat of a steady environment to test them in, so we can kind of get pretty close estimate as to what their true capacity is. And then once I kind of get them all lined out and set up, then maybe I'll go through and show you guys how I plan to build this battery pack and what BMS I think I'm going to go ahead and use for them, and we can go ahead and incorporate that into the rest of our solar stuff. But yeah, for now, that's the beginning, and I will give you guys updates soon as I start making progress with them. Alright guys, so just wanted to give you a quick update. Been going through, working on all of these lithium batteries, the hybrid batteries out of the buses. You can see the date code on there. That's the date it was charged up. So right now, these guys have been sitting. They've been sitting for quite some time. So you can see these are all my charged ones that I've gone through and been able to get charged up. And then I've got my others. I've got some more over on that shelf back there. Right now, the goal is to get them all charged up once, because they've, I started to say, they've been sitting for probably a year and a half, 2 years. And obviously there's voltage drift. So having that voltage drift, before I can put together and build a battery pack, I need to make sure that they're all balanced out. And I'm going to start testing. I know this is going to be controversial, but I'm going to start my testing without a BMS, just to hook them up and get them all balanced out with each other, let them kind of equalize each other, and then I'll continue on my testing. So right now I'm kind of doing everything in batches. I think I have 5.2 kilowatt hours worth of batteries, so it's somewhere in the ballpark of 160 cells, I think. I could be wrong, somewhere around there. That's not exactly. So I'm sure I'm going to have some that are better than others and some that are worse than others, but I'm not planning on running these things anywhere near their potential. In fact, I'm thinking that I might run them somewhere in the ballpark of about 60% of rated capacity. So their full charge voltage is about 4.2 volts per cell, and their full discharge, I think, was 2.5 volts, 2 volts, something way down there. So my plan was to keep them somewhere in that 3 to, I don't know, maybe 3.8, 3.9 volt range. And, you know, honestly, I know that there are definitely more efficient ways, more effective ways to get more usage of the capacity. I don't really care. I got these things for a screaming awesome deal, some trade work. And I'm just excited to have some extra storage capacity and start actually putting my system together and testing it. So yes, there are better ways to do it, and I might change it in the future, but I've kind of changed a little bit of my plan anyways. And what I mean by that is, right here I've got some lithium iron phosphate batteries. Well, there's one here. And then I've got a whole bunch of these AGM cells that I've collected over the years. But right here, this is, don't judge me, it's a continually changing scene here as I'm still setting up in the little bit of spare time I have here and there. There's another one of those AGM batteries. This one's fully charged, so I'm going to mark it and switch it out and put another one on. So I am individually charging each one of these cells using my iMax B6. That one took about 2289 milliamp hours. So I mean, you can see, I mean, 2.5 amp hours, that's not like it's very largely discharged. I think that one, when I plugged it in, was resting at about 3.82 volts. So I mean, it had plenty of storage in it. But I've plugged a couple, or I've hooked a couple up that were in the 2 volt range. So they were like 2.6, 2.8 volts, something like that. And those ones obviously took closer to like 4 amp hours. And most of them, even after sitting, most of them have been above 3.6 volts. So right off the bat, before I start any capacity testing, I'm not upset with them. And yeah, like I said, right now I'm just kind of excited to get something going with it. I'm not going to be using them hard or heavy, so I don't necessarily follow me for safety reasons. If you're going to do this, I would suggest you get a BMS beforehand, unless you really know what you're doing. And I'm going to be closely monitoring them anytime I use them before I have a BMS. So don't stress on that. And I already know people are going to complain and say, "Oh, you're going to burn down your house." You know what? I'm already working on a fireproof box that I'll be doing my testing in, and anytime that I'm not near them and ready to put out a chemical fire. One more thing, then I'll let you go. But I figured you guys probably want to see this, so here it is. It's not that it's anything special, but I actually just hooked up a different cell, and we're going to clear this out because this is off of the last battery. So if you don't know how to run one of these iMax B6s or know anything about them, these are really awesome little chargers. I actually have it hooked up through this AGM 12 volt battery right here that is actually also plugged into just a cheap little solar panel that I had laying around. So this is fully self-sustained, always charged up. Actually, by that solar panel right there, it's a battery tender brand. Way overpriced for what you get, but regardless, the iMax B6, if you're not familiar with it, maybe I'll link a video to it. I learned about it through Jehu Garcia, and that's actually where I got going with these batteries and kind of this whole process. And I actually have a pile of old laptop batteries that, if I ever get the time one day, maybe I'll start playing with those as well. And I'll probably still use this charger. But basically, you go through, you set your charge parameters. I've got it set up for lithium polymer already. These LiPo pouches, 3.7 volt nominal. The 1S just means one battery in series. It has balance port leads over here if I ever wanted to go that route, but since we're doing individual cells, it doesn't matter. And right now, for sake of time, I've got them charging at the max rate of 5 amps, partially because I'm not too worried about it. These cells were all were supposed to be tested in good shape for the most part, like no known issues. And this charger automatically tapers down and does everything on its own, figures it all out, and it's not shoving 5 amps in the whole time. As the voltage goes up, the absorption goes down, obviously, so the charger automatically correlates the amperage. But figured show you real quick. So we've got our setting set right there, just push and push and hold, battery check, everything's good, 1 series, yep. So confirm or cancel and it'll stop it. We want to charge it, so we'll hit confirm. And if you saw that for a split second, it said 3.77 volts. So that's what I've been talking about about where most of these are in that 3.6, 3.8 volt range. And I don't know how dead on that reading is or not, because it says 4.2 volts right now, but it's putting in 5 amps, 5.1, but it's putting in 5 amps. So that tells me that it's not actually fully charged at 4.2 volts. And I put my battery lead, or my voltmeter on here before to check it, and it's below 4.2. So I don't know if it's coming up or what. But actually, let's take a look. Okay, sorry guys, I had to use 2 hands to actually set this up, because obviously you just saw a second ago this wasn't here. So I have just taken one of my leads and shoved it in the back of one of the terminals right there, and then the other lead and shoved it in the back of that terminal to get my voltage. And if you saw just a second ago, it was 3.88 volts. Now it's 3.89. So I don't know if this is a reading that it's putting out 4.2 volts and it's able to push 4.2 volts. And so that's why you can already see it's starting to taper down from 5 amps to 4.9. I don't know. I'm sure if you wanted to do the research and dive into it, you could find out exactly what this reading is. I know that's target voltage, so maybe what this is saying that it's able to put out 4.2 to the battery, and the battery's not fighting back with too much resistance, so it's able to pump out the amperage. But then it's also, obviously our voltage is increasing here, and as this goes up, the amperage will go down. So yeah, I don't know, maybe we'll do some research on that, and I'll make a video on that if you wanted, but I'm pretty sure there's plenty of info out there that you could find much easier than waiting for me to do a video. But that is a quick rundown, quick follow-up to these battery cells. And the biggest thing for me right now is time. If I had all the time in the world, I would have done this a long time ago and been making videos and stuff like that. But between work and running a business and household and family and kids and everything, and then obviously, my car's down right now, got brake issues, gotta go through and replace the rear brakes, and just had to do the same thing on my truck not too long ago. So it's just been one thing after another, and yeah, in a perfect world it would be done, but we're not in a perfect world, so we do what we can with what we got, and just make the best of our situation. See, 3.91, and she's dropped to 4.8 amps, you can see right there. So she's paying close attention to what she's doing and throttling it down as necessary. 354, 55, 56 milliamp hours. She's been running for 4 minutes and 24 seconds. So yeah, it's a nice, simple, safe system. The IMAX, maybe not necessarily my setup, but don't hate. We're all doing what we can out here, and yeah. That being said, that is the quick update for now. It's just a fast little, here's what's going on. Got a lot of these charged up. I'm not even halfway through. I think I'm almost exactly a quarter of the way through today. I'm getting ready to switch out this cell right now. And I think that puts me a quarter of the way through all of those cells. I'll get a hard count when I'm ready. In that box you saw about 44, 45 cells, plus or minus, somewhere in that range. So yeah, that's all I've got for you right now, and stay tuned. I'll keep sharing what I'm doing with you guys. Have a good one. See ya.